Okay, Joey, so I know you're probably feeling it too, but grocery prices right now are just wild. Every time I check out, I'm like, wait, how much did that cost? What do you think?
Deb, we should trade families for a week and see how much this really costs. You've seen my videos where my
I
family's
know.
at Target buying mindless stuff, right? I agree. Grocery prices are crazy. Now, it's interesting because I'm guessing California is similar to Arizona. I don't think produce is that expensive here, considering what it costs in the rest of the country. If we visit Minnesota and buy an apple's $3, right?
I know. That's
Here,
crazy.
I know. And here we grow them, right? Or you guys grow them. Thanks, California. And they're really cheap. They're like 75 cents. So overall, I'm complaining about this, that it's gone up, but I know the rest of the country is actually in much worse shape.
Yeah.
But sure, we have seen it. We have seen the grocery prices going up,
Hmm.
and I feel like that. No, I don't know. I always think to myself like I want to do more with less, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and that's interesting you say that because I've been really focusing on budget meals lately on my YouTube channel. And honestly, it's been such a good reminder that eating healthy, especially plant-based, does not have to be expensive. Um, it's just the videos I've been doing around budget meals are actually doing really well. I think people are really looking for this right now.
Yeah, I remember when we first got into doing vegan meals, you and I remember some of the comments would be the same. They'd be like, "Vegan, how can you afford to eat like that?" Right? And
Yeah.
I swear, like they think I'm going out and ordering paying $2 extra for an Impossible Burger or Burger King instead of the regular burger, right? And that's just not how we eat. You and I don't eat that way.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
Transition foods are fine and these and that sort of thing, but I my basic diet is beans and rice and tofu and starches and all that stuff,
Hmm.
with some protein added in that I'll usually make, and that is very, very cheap. So the vegan lifestyle is not a more expensive lifestyle unless you know what really pisses me off, Deb? Nothing drives me more crazy. I'm just going to have a rant in the middle of our topic here. When you go to a vegan restaurant, right? And I
Uh-huh.
swear you get two vegan burgers and fries. Lex and I will do this. Two vegan burgers and fries and a vegan cookie. Because where are you going to get that from? And some fountain beverages. And it's $65. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, what the hell? Like $65? I could have bought like 40 Impossible Burgers for that, right? Like at Winco or something. So it can be an opportunity to charge people more. It can be an opportunity to spend more. But
Hmm.
Deb, you and I have been showing people that you can do it cheaper.
Right. And I think that's the first thing people think of when prices go up. Oh, I can't afford to eat healthy anymore.
Right.
You know, but that's where I think plant-based eating really shines. So I've gone back to the basics, like really simple foods, like you said, beans, tofu, rice, potatoes. I mean, tofu is still probably one of the best bang for your buck. I mean, you can get a block of firm tofu, extra firm tofu at Aldi's for like $1.50. Now that's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, if you keep your meals simple, like 5 or 6 ingredients, it's really economical.
It is. And Costco I just love because you can get a huge like 25-pound bag of Indian white rice,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
I mean it used to be like $14, now it's 19, but still like that's so cheap, right?
Yeah,
And
it's like,
that will last you for so long. The same thing with they have they have the Costco Business Center here, and they have
mm,
big bags of chickpeas, 25 pounds of chickpeas for
oh,
15 bucks,
wow.
25 pounds of pinto beans for like $11. Like it's so cheap, Deb, right? And you get the big bags of potatoes and all that stuff, lentils, all that stuff. So, and those are staples. The lentils have the protein, so that you can get big boxes of tofu. It's like $7 for a box of 4 boxes of tofu. That's less than $2 a box,
I
right?
know.
So
Yeah.
it's not expensive. Meanwhile, Costco's selling those very expensive steaks that are like $150 for. I don't even know what they're
Hmm.
called. I don't eat meat, but if
Right.
you're gonna sit there and buy that nonsense and then complain that vegan meals are too much, that's not real.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah. You just try to stick to what I've been doing is I just stick to a core list. Like I already know what I'm buying. Like we were talking in our last podcast about our tracking our calories. I already know in my chronometer what I'm eating. I like to lean on frozen fruits and vegetables. I mean, less waste, they're cheaper. I mean, you just can't go wrong there.
I agree, Deb. But One of the issues I have is my family just picks stuff off the shelves at the store, right? And and I don't know why, but we have to have three of everything, Deb, because we need to have the one we're using, one as a backup, and one in case there's another 2020, right? And then Deb, you know I'm going to throw two of these out when they expire, right? Like, let's be real, okay?
Yeah.
So today is that mailman pickup day here in Arizona where you put a bunch of stuff out in a bag. They give you the bag and you fill it up with like stuff
Oh,
you're not going to eat and put it out. So I've got that bag out along with a
oh,
garbage bag full of stuff that's going with him, right?
wow. That's cool.
Yeah, Deb. Oh, yeah. Because this is what happens when you buy three of anything. I agree with you. Keep it back to the basics. Just get what you need, right? Core stuff. But I mean, you can overdo that too, for sure. And that's kind of how it happens at my house. That's how we roll, Deb.
Right. And I think that's normal because we do have that mentality since, like you said,
Yep.
2020, stock up on everything. In my back room, I've got, 100 cans of chickpeas, not that many, but I mean, it's like you get down to like 10 and you're like, oh, I got to get more. It's crazy. So yeah, if you just build your meals around what you have, you don't even need to go to the store.
No,
We've
I
got so much
agree.
back stock.
Deb, if we don't go to Costco every Saturday, we will die by Wednesday of the next week, Deb. That's what's going to happen in my house, all right? So, we have this argument every week. I'm like, look at all this stuff. Like, look at all those chickpeas that have been sitting there for 3 years in that big bin. Let's make something. All right, we got to stop at Costco. What for, right? Like as if we're going to perish, okay? I have realized that those dry foods are there in case 2020 comes back. Otherwise,
Right.
never to be touched again. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you need to go to the bunker, then you can take all your bags of chickpeas and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy. I made a really good recipe. It was a creamy lemon garlic tofu. Oh, and it was so simple. I mean, just keep it simple. People think you have to have these fancy recipes, but you really don't. Lentil taco meat is so cheap and so good. I just posted a video. I did no, I didn't post that one. It's coming up. I did a vegan chili mac. Maybe that is the one I posted. I have so many videos, I forget. But anyway, super budget friendly. It was like $2.22 a serving, and it was
Oh.
like 34 grams of protein. It's like, come on. So yeah, you gotta do those stretch meals. Take something like tofu or lentils, and then you just add rice, potatoes, pasta. Now you've got, a simple meal, and it's easy.
I agree because you and I like make it. So let me tell you something real fast. One of the substitutes at school, she's been Miss Fly Girl. We absolutely love her. She used to be a flight attendant, Deb, but she's retired now. So every time she comes in to sub for me, she brings the seatbelt, Deb, and she does the demonstration.
I
And the
love
kids
that.
love it, right?
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't there, but once the water started coming out of the ceiling, I was like, "Everyone, there's a flotation device under your seat. Grab it if you need it." Right? But anyway, her husband just passed away, right? And she
Um,
texted me, and she really like feels close to me in the class. She's like, "My gosh, you're not going to believe this, but my husband just passed away suddenly of a heart
oh,
attack. I don't know what to do. I don't cook. I don't do any of that. He took care of me, right? Which really just
oh,
like break my heart. But
yeah,
the fact that I mean, if you don't cook like that, right, then you're at the mercy of like paying more for everything, right?
yeah,
But you and I, like, we cook everything. And I don't know about you, but I don't remember the last time I cooked a meal that had one serving, right? So, right, we're cooking and we're boxing everything up into the fridge as four
right,
servings, and I've got food all week for lunch, right, or for whatever, or if my family's
yeah,
going to eat it. So, I mean, when you think about that, I don't have a lot of waste food,
hmm,
produce and all that. I make it, we store it, and we eat it all week long. So, and to me, like, that's cheap for the 222 that you said per serving, right?
hmm,
For $16, I've made four servings, and that's what it costs for one burger out.
exactly. A lot of people, they don't want to take the time to cook something. They'd rather just go do fast food. And I always say the time it takes for you to have the delivery come to your house or go to that place and pick it up, you could have already made your meal. These meals I do are like 15-20 minutes. It's super simple. And another thing is people buy a lot of the vegan specialty items. That's
Yeah,
why people think vegan's expensive,
it is.
because they have the mock meats and the
Yep.
fake bacon and all that, which are great. I think great transitional foods, but if you're trying to save money, yeah, don't do that. Can you relate, my friend?
Well, you know that I can, Deb. But there are some days when my son just wants a bagel with just egg, some vegan bacon, some vegan sausage, and some vegan cheese on it, right? Like a whole processed sandwich, right? So
Right.
I'll make that. In fact, I think that was in my last video. And then there are other days where I just want potatoes with salt on them. So I'll just cook a bunch of potatoes, just throw salt on them. I know in my videos
Right.
I do like fancy cheese sauce and all this, but the reality is, like, give me some potatoes, give me some lentils. Like, I don't need much with them, and I'm just eating by themselves, and I'm good, right?
Right.
So
And,
depending on the mood, but yeah, you could spend money and get something fancy, or you could just make it yourself and just keep it simple, few ingredients, and that's it.
right. And that's fine what you said about making the sandwich.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have to be all or nothing,
right,
but
right,
you got to live a little for
yeah.
sure. I just think one of the biggest shifts for me as far as my mindset was realizing that simple meals are not boring. It helps me be consistent. And if you're trying to lose fat, build muscle, it just makes it even easier, especially for us women over 50. We don't need complicated. We just want, nourishing, protein rich, sustainable meals.
All right, so if someone's listening and feeling overwhelmed, I'd say pick like 3 go-to meals for the week. And Deb, I mean, if people looked at our lives, they would see we probably eat the same 10 meals over and over again,
Yeah,
right?
I think
So
everybody does. Yeah.
pick 3 go-to meals for the week. Make sure each one has a protein, a carb, and some fiber. And I'm going to do a whole new episode on fiber here, but for sure,
Mhm.
and keep it simple. So, and this is kind of what we do on Sundays. Tim loves chili, right? So on Sundays he'll make chili, and then he'll eat that 3 times that week.
Uh-huh.
I really like seitan in different things, right? So I just make sure we have seitan on Sunday, and I'll make it all week, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I take protein shakes for a lot of the things I do. Sometimes I just have a chickpea salad all week. So I do make one big ingredient that I
Right.
make into meals all week, and I think
That's
that's
smart.
simple. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to have the same thing every day, but I can make it into different meals for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So at the end of the day, groceries, yes, they're more expensive right now, but this is actually a really good opportunity to get back to the basics. And some of the cheapest foods, like we talked about, beans, tofu, lentils, potatoes, are some of the healthiest.
And we've been kind of saying this for
Yeah.
8 years or 10 years now.
Yeah.
Eat the core ingredients, the core. And
Hmm.
you don't even just say they're vegan, right? Eat the
Right.
lentils, eat the dried beans, eat like that stuff. Everyone should be eating those. Forget about, because that's where your fiber is coming from anyway, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
even if you're not a vegan, those are basic gut friendly microbiome foods that you really should be eating. And they've always been cheap, and they're still cheap.
Right. And in fact, I've started adding the fiber content on my macros so people can see how much fiber, because to me, that's just as important as protein.
I agree. The one thing that we have, like as protein enthusiasts over the meat eating protein enthusiasts, is that we're getting the fiber
Right.
from our meals, and they're still not. They're still having to add fiber,
Right.
and so I wish they would look at like vegan bodybuilders versus regular bodybuilders meeting and look at, like, I know the lifespan is probably going to be longer, but are they healthier? Do they have better digestion? I would have to think they do, because even if you're in better shape, digestion still sucks when you don't have fiber.
Yeah,
So I
100%.
I think it's a great thing to put that on. I always have put that on my macros, but I think it's a great thing. All right,
Yeah.
if you guys are enjoying these budget meals, these ideas, let us know, because we're definitely going to be keeping making them, right? And
Oh,
Deb, you
yeah.
do a lot more of these than I do. Lately, everything I do is like, this is how you lose weight. Listen,
No,
and
you can do both. You can do both. And this whole month I'm doing all budget meals on my
that's
channel.
awesome.
So yeah, it'll be good. So yeah, so if you've made it this far in the episode, if you're watching on YouTube, comment below with budget meals, and that way we know you made it to the end with us, and we appreciate your support. And any closing words, Joey?
Just that we would love it if you left a 5-star review on Amazon, on Amazon, probably at Apple and Spotify. And if it's not going to be a 5-star, let us know why, what we can do to change
Yeah.
things. Leave a
And
comment
what
below, like Deb said. We hope you're enjoying the podcast, and we hope it's been an amazing summer. We'll see you next time.
okay. Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.